Okay, our first step in this journey is a week and a module dedicated to unlearning, on the assumption that we actually have to empty out some of our assumptions to be able to partake and enjoy the journey that we're about to go on. So really, when I'm talking about unlearning, I'm talking about unlearning the way we typically think about learning, and this is based around authenticity and presence. So two ideas here. One, there's a lot of research that shows that when students are authentically engaged in the work, like they have their own reason to do what they want to do, or they're doing things for their own purposes, that really prompts and spells out a different kind of learning than when I tell you what to do and you end up doing it in response. So it's interesting in designing this course and designing how to think about this. If we're leading ourselves to the good life, and not just any old good life, but the good life that we have inside of us, there's a sense that I don't know what that is for you. And I'm still trying to figure that out for myself, which is why I'm enjoying retaking this course every time that I do. We're unlearning the idea that there's somewhere to get to, and I need to get over here in order to do this thing, which is partially true, but also kind of partially not helpful. So thinking about that learning doesn't have anything to do with grades, that education doesn't have anything to do with prescribed outcomes, although it kind of does. We need a measure and standard to judge ourselves. We are in charge of developing that measure and standard. So we are in charge of developing those projects and then measuring what we define as progress. Someone in the first workshop I did, their project for the course was to just keep a daily journal, a writing practice. They wanted to be able to look back on 49 days of journaling and say, I'm a daily journaler. I have a writing practice. That is my measure of success. That is my project. That's what I'm wanting, and that's how I would define, and I'm going to be as present as possible when I do that. That's how I define success. That's what it means to me on a very self-compassionate way to live the good life. So, point being, this first week is we're really identifying, trying to strip everything away of what we might think learning is about and what we might think being in a workshop is about, so that we can bring our own native understanding to it and build our own sense of what the good life is, which is exciting and kind of cool because it's different every time. And it even can change over time, which is what's fun about this. So, in terms of authenticity, we're really kind of looking at this idea of being who we are, and with presence, we're looking at being present to our experience, being fully embodied, being aware, however we want to take that kind of that cue to be present in our experience. And we have two books that we're really working with. We're going to be introduced to Natalie Goldberg's Writing Down the Bones, which is the Zen philosophy, which we're going to go over next episode, and Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, that both of them really prioritize both a sense of authenticity and presence, mainly from a standpoint of Zen and from a standpoint of free writing. This first week, we're really asking 5 big questions to break them down. 1, who am I? Maybe where am I? How's my heart? Which we're going to explore a little bit more in week 2. 2, where am I going? Where am I? And this is especially interesting because a lot of us don't know where we're going. And so this is an open question that we're kind of working and developing in, especially if we're in transition, a liminal phase where we don't know where we're going next. That's great. That's actually right where we should be. So some of us might know this, and we might actually be using this course to figure this out. 3, what might I make to help me answer 1 and 2? This is the sense of our project. That when we're thinking about making something, that making is a process of learning for us. We're going to explore and begin to explore what we might be doing for that project. And again, we don't need to know what that is. We're going to just start asking about it. 4, what daily activities will help me make 3? So as soon as you know what your project is going to be, what kind of daily activities, time structuring, what's going to help you do that. And then 5, how does any of this connect to living the good life? So the big question here is what we can do to define our own idea of the good life, and then how we can do that. The next video we're gonna start going over these daily prompts that I'm gonna give you, and each daily prompt is meant to start or jumpstart our thinking on these. You don't need to do them in order. When you get the entire weekly workbook, you don't need to go through each day, but you can if that helps you structure and think about your experience in the course. We're basically really just working to get that presence to do the work that might help you go deeper into these big questions that are really like lifelong questions that I hope I hope this course helps us answer. If the biggest question and the biggest interesting question that we have on the table is, what is my purpose and how can I be the best version of myself? All of these little tiny prompts are going to help us on the way to that. So that's what we're doing this first module, is exploring purpose through the lens of self-exploration and beginning to think about the projects we can design. All right, we'll start looking at the daily prompts next time.